Hey you lot, time for a long overdue 40k painting guide. We are tackling the Cryptothralls of the Necron Legions, members of the Royal Court. I managed to get this on the sprue with the Imperium magazine. I'm still working through. I think we've just got the Scorptech Lord left to go. Their main goal in their creation is to protect the cryptotechs and act as a slave/servant type unit. They're armed with close combat weapons, and they are ultimately meant to be meat shields, so let's dive into painting them. Right, as you can see here, we are just slapping on a black undercoat. I really should get better at using route cans, but I just don't have the energy for it, so it's easier to prime as I want to paint a model. Okay, I got my dry brush, loaded it up a little bit. I'm going to start by swiping down for the most part, because I want the underside to be darker than the top side. I'm just going to work my way around the model. Really not doing anything special here. I just want to make sure I've got a good solid coat of silver, and then all the other colours are going to work off this. So yeah, I really didn't know much about this unit going into it. As far as I'm aware, they only seem to appear on the Royal Court sprue, which is rather expensive on the Games Workshop website. I got mine with the $15 Imperium magazine, which seems a great deal. In Canada at least, this sprue seems to go for $120, $150 sort of region, which is crazy to get it at like a tenth of the price, and you also get a magazine as well. Blows my mind. So this unit is second to last. We've got the Scorptech Lord, who when I paint him, we'll put the whole set together, and then we'll get the magazine video out. It's long overdue. That is my bad. I've been distracted by Judge Dredd. I do love my Judge Dredd. There's more coming, but I just felt like painting some 40k. I still have not picked up the 10th edition rulebook. I have not played a 10th edition game. I honestly can say I probably won't, unless something really catches my eye. My preferred armies are Space Marines, Necron, and the Eldari. My Eldari I didn't even update in the last edition, so they're falling behind. I need to really work on them soon. As you saw, I picked up the Administratum Grey, and I'm going to use it on the base. Yeah, my poor Eldar, I need to work out what I'm doing with them. I need to rebase them, which is always a pain, which means I have to buy a ton of bases. It's the Guardians that are really annoying me. The fact that they had a big base increase, they just don't look right. And then there's a part of me that's like, why are you upgrading their bases when likelihood is you're not going to play a game? So everything's kind of just sat on a shelf looking sad for itself. I do want to get the new kill team though. The fact that they have striking scorpions in there is really calling out to me. It's one of my favourite units in the army. As you can see, I'm just catching the eye. I'm going to hit it with some pallid witch flesh later on just to lighten it up. I wanted to just give it a nice solid base coat. Yeah, striking scorpions for me were one of my favourite units back in, I'm trying to think, 7th or 8th edition. Probably 7th, thinking about it. I had a whole army of them. I had a Utark, 3 units of scorpions, and then I had rangers. My idea was it was a pure infiltration force. I had a lot of success with them actually. They tore through quite a few armies quite successfully. They also got their ass handed to them quite a lot. So I've grabbed the flesh tier contrast paint, and now I'm going to pick out all the red areas. Mostly going to focus on the head, the big shoulder plate / neck collar that it's got, and then the blades. Yeah, going back to the Eldari, I really want to pick up that kill team. It comes down to how much it's going to cost me. Buying it and having 2 great units to build is lovely, but at the same time, if I have to drop nearly $400, that's a big ask. It's a very big ask. It might have to be a Christmas gift to myself. That's how I justify it. At the same time, I'm trying to upgrade some of my equipment in the office, so I could really use a new office chair. So dropping 400 on some more figures, it seems like a low priority at the moment. I hate to say it, I really do. But that's probably the way it's going to have to be. What are you all working on though? Drop me a comment, let me know. Are you mostly here for Judge Dredd, or are you happy to see 40k being back? Do you want to see more 40k and less Judge Dredd? Let me know. Obviously less Judge Dredd isn't going to happen. There's always going to be some. That's my true love. I am trying to work out how I can get some 40k figures into Judge Dredd, but it's a little hard. The scale is off. Necrons obviously I could use as a robot, but the fact that they're rather killy looking makes it a lot harder. There's some of the Age of Sigmar models that I think could work in Judge Dredd, like the ghouls could be underground trogs from the Undercity. The Necromunda figures are probably easier to bring over as gangers. The problem is the scale doesn't quite look right on them, so we'll have to see what I can do. Right, with his chest done, we just got his arm spikes to get on with. And what we're going to do, so I don't bore you too much, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Right, we are finishing up the second arm spike right now. He is looking gorgeously red and shiny, which is how I like my Necrons. I can't talk. Going into this magazine series, I didn't think I'd enjoy painting the Necrons as much as I have. The fact that they're so quick and easy is a real joy for me. I'm going to knock out this model probably in like 13 minutes, start to finish, which is wonderful. And look, he is taking shape. He's probably fine to go on a table like that. I'd be a little bit sad if my entire army was at that stage, but it's enough to get playing with. Up next is going to be the Pallid Witch Flesh. This is slowly becoming my go-to light colour. It's better than a straight up bright white. It works really well as flesh tones and also for highlighting things. So I'm just going to put a blob on his eye. And I think we'll hit up this Tubin. We'll make this Tubin green as well. Just to add a little contrast to the model. And then we got to let this dry before I move on to the next stage, which is going to be a green contrast paint. And for that green contrast paint, we are going to use Orc Flesh. Once again, very much a go-to green for me on my Necrons. It's very bright, it's very bold, it pops against the red. I'm just being gentle because I wasn't 100% sure if that pallid flesh had dried. It looked a little damp, especially as the red contrast paint still looked wet. It's been a good 5 minutes of letting it dry. I thought it'd be a bit more set. It's quite humid today where I am, so the paint seems to be staying active a little bit longer than it would normally. Right, we're going to use Agrax Earthshade. I'm just going to darken down the base. I was a bit too heavy with the grey. It happens, but it's looking a bit too bright compared to the other Necrons I have in the collection. So I'm just going to try and knock it back with this wash. It will also give the model a chance to dry up a bit more. Nothing fancy to see here, just slapping it on, getting the job done. There we go. This should knock back that grey a little bit. I just need to be more careful. I just slapped it down. Right, Mephiston Red is up next. This is just to give that carapace a little bit of a highlight. I'm going to do a very rough overbrush. I just want to catch the edges. I don't want to fully paint it with this. But I want to make sure I get some sharp edges on the model. So I'm using my layer brush. Certain points, especially on this mask, I'm going to try and just draw on straight lines. I just want it to look a little bit sharp around this eye lens that it's got. But then on the rest of the model, I'm just going to use a rough and ready kind of dry brushing effect. So let's just pick out a few more details. As you can see, I'm being very gentle. I want the shiny red to stay, but I also want a little bit of bright boldness to it. They're meant to be aliens at the end of the day. They don't fully follow our ideas of colour schemes. And then on here you can see I'm just using the side of the brush. I'm going to start picking out some of the sharper edges, especially on this collar. It's so hard. This model's got so many points of interest that you have to flip it upside down almost. And then start being a bit more heavy now that I got those fine edges done. But like I said, I don't want to fully cover it in this. I want this metallic-y red to be showing through. So I'm just doing very quick swipes. The model itself is picking up some of the colour, but I'm not going over the top. Kind of almost looks stippled by the end of it, which I'm very happy with, but it's pretty much a dry brush. And with this, it's going to be pretty much the last stage. I'm going to glue on some grass and then we'll take some photos. I hope you learned something, hope I've inspired you maybe, and make sure you drop me a comment, and I'll catch you in the next video. As always, cheers for watching.